More kids.
Oh, we're not doing a countdown today.
Okay, no
we're
countdown.
No countdown. We're late. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
Sorry we're late.
Hi there. My name's Dakota. This is Fifth Avenue Cigars. We're doing our monthly live stream that we do every month on the first Saturday of every month.
Liar.
Every once in a while we switch it up.
Every once in a while.
Like once a year.
Once a year.
Well, I don't think we're going to be out doing it for Labor Day weekend, are we?
I don't know. We can talk about that later.
Next time.
Anyway.
You ruined so many holidays.
I know. I ruined so many fight nights too.
That's true.
All right. So anyway, if you happen to be watching this, we're glad you're here. Thanks. And we would like to welcome our good friend, Mr. Andrew Jensen, here with us.
Friend of the show.
How many times is this now? 4 or
3?
5?
3 or 4.
I think I want to say
mean,
it's 3 or 4.
I know
think
it's at
4.
least 3.
Well, we have to get you a
For sure,
5-timers
it's at
jacket
least,
next
It's
time.
at least 3.
Oh, 5 You're going to start the 5-timers club.
5 times. Surely you've had somebody on more than 5 times.
No?
No.
You'll be
Oh,
it.
really?
I
No.
think this is your 5th time.
You'll have to check the archive. I
It's
think
at least the
Dakota
4th.
will,
I've sat down here with you 3 times. And I
Okay.
know I've missed you at least once.
That does make sense. You know, I mean, it's sort of one of those experiences that lends itself to the memory not quite holding up.
Well,
and you know,
yeah,
in hindsight,
Well, and as many times as we sat down here smoking and drinking with the cameras off,
they do.
you don't remember.
They do
Yeah.
run together.
Yeah.
They do run together. So, but no, always fun to be here. Love the spot. Can't wait till shop's all the lounge is all.
Man, we're so close.
So
We're
close.
so close.
We've been saying that for years, but it's actually, I think we're actually really fucking close right now.
Yeah.
If anything,
You can
this
actually
lounge,
sort of believe them right now.
this
Yeah.
lounge has become a professional cocktails.
Oh yeah. If you're into edging, whew, come on in.
We should rename it to Molotov Cocktails.
Well, I mean, we got to hang those last 2 doors in the hallway. We got to trim the hallway. It needs another coat of paint. Then that hallway's done. Chad just about buttoned up the stairs today. We got to put some quarter round in the stairs while they finish the sheetrock. And then as soon as the glass is delivered, we're good enough to open.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much relying on glass.
Glass and sheetrock, which are the 2 things that are not our fault that held us up. Like the
Yeah.
sheetrock guys put us back 2 months. No fault of our own.
All the entertainment, everything else is set. Ready
I
to go.
mean, they're over there watching a fight right now. Well,
True,
we're not able
yeah.
to watch it.
Literally,
The
yeah.
Diaz
what
Paul
was
fight
it,
is
the
on.
Yeah.
Diaz Paul is on next door.
Mm-hmm. It's good to be our friends.
Well, hopefully,
Of course,
hopefully Diaz and Paul fight later on tonight after this stream
Well,
is
after
done.
this
'Cause
over with, yeah.
I don't want to miss that one. I kinda wanna see-
It'd be nice if we can catch it in the intermission between the 2 streams. But so
At
what's
this exact moment, there's one person watching.
I know.
Who you got? You got Paul or Diaz? And at least tell me that, please, you're hoping for Diaz.
Is Diaz the MMA guy?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nate,
Okay, well,
Nate
then, yeah.
Diaz.
But he's limited to boxing.
But he's not allowed. He's
But
not allowed to
he's-
armbar him and
he's
shit.
tough, dude.
Understood.
He's
I mean,
tough.
Nate
like,
Diaz can take a motherfucking hit.
you know, I
So-
haven't watched any of these Jake Paul things, but I guess
He's-
he doesn't look horrible. Some people are treating this seriously, which
No,
I
he
find
is not.
interesting. 'cause
He
I-
is not a bad boxer.
When the story starts off, social media influencer, you're like, what?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they're treating it seriously.
Oh, but I've
so I guess
watched-
he,
I watched his last
if they're
2
gonna charge
fights.
people, they must be willing to pay it. So I
Yeah,
guess,
I've
I'm
watched
not
his
watching
last
any
2
of them.
fights. He is not a bad boxer. It is not as gimmicky as it seems.
It certainly sounds gimmicky.
I know it
Whenever
does.
The fact that social media influencer is a job title now is kind of.
It's the #1 aspirational job title in elementary schools in America. Which
I
is
would
sad as
figure.
fuck.
I
I
got
read
kids,
number
we get them
one.
off TikTok.
Number one has
He's-
to be Twitch streamer.
But
Well,
would
I
that
mean,
also
that's
be a
all in the
combination,
same.
Like the social media plus YouTuber, Twitch streamer, gamer
Yeah.
person.
I mean, it's all encompassed
Live,
into
yeah.
one. And, it's not astronaut and then, astronaut that goes to low Earth orbit and then astronaut that goes to moon. It's all just
Remember, like
astronaut.
doctor, lawyer, astronaut. Those were like
Yeah.
firefighter.
Yeah,
cop,
exactly.
And I was like, I want to play video games for a living.
Yeah.
I want to be one of those girls in the hot tub on Twitch.
I want to have a desk in my room with way too much RGB LED lighting all around it.
Can you
and,
imagine
and a
how?
racing chair with wheels on it that I just scoot around and roll over my dog's tail with.
Can you
I want to
imagine
be
how
eating
bad
hot
their
dogs
eyesight's gonna be
whole
in
and people
about
give
10
me
years?
$5.
You know, those kids haven't realized that's the exact plot of the 40-year-old virgin.
They're living out the best 40-year-old virgin.
That life choice is the path to 40-year-old
It's going to
virgin,
end up being an
actually.
inadvertent documentary like Idiocracy.
Yeah. We're ahead of schedule.
This is
We're
how
so
humanity is.
You realize Idiocracy took place 500 years in the future.
Oh my God, we're going to be there in 50.
We're 490 years ahead of schedule.
So bringing it back to the intro here. So Andy, we will potentially have a viewer that doesn't know who you are.
Okay.
How do you want to introduce yourself? What do you do? What makes you fun in the state of Alaska, or at least someone who's in the know?
What makes me fun in the state of Alaska? I don't know.
Have you
that I'm
hung out with him?
always-
Fuck,
I don't know
he's
that I'm
always fun.
I don't know if I'm always
Who
considered fun,
is Andy Jensen?
but no.
What?
I'm sorry.
Well, I work for-
Andy Jensen.
Your
I think
Christian
that-
name. Go by a Christian name.
Andrew Jensen. Andrew Jensen, yes. I mean, and so I think the last time I was on the show, I just said I worked for the state of Alaska because that was a very good catch-all. There's 22-something thousand people that work for the state of Alaska. I do work for the governor in his office. Came in there as a communications person from the Alaska Journal of Commerce. where I
Your
worked for
first
11
episode,
years.
you were still at the Journal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's probably true.
Mhm.
Again, we'll have to check the books, for sure.
We got a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I know he's got a spreadsheet.
Can you hear me?
Dakota's a nerd. So, but yeah, so I worked at the Alaska Journal of Commerce. That's why I moved here. So I covered business and politics up here for 11 years, and then went to work in the governor's office, worked on his campaign, and now I work in food security and energy policy. For the
Food
governor.
security.
Yes. Food security is a big deal up here. I mean, during COVID, it really kind of brought home, the vulnerability of Alaska on the supply chain thing. It's there was a call, and I wasn't working for the governor then, but this happened sometime early in 2020, early on, where there was a phone call came into the office that said that Governor Inslee in Washington was considering shutting down the port of Seattle
Which would fuck us.
because to protect COVID spread and everything. So if you do that, you would have seen basically food rise probably in Alaska.
Yeah, we would starve.
Yeah, I mean, you see what happens if the ship is one day late.
Yeah.
The shelves get stripped down in
Yeah.
Anchorage, right? So we have 10 to 14 days ish in the grocery stores up here, and so that became really important to the governor.
So you're
in terms of
spearheading growing thing, right?
yes, we're absolutely trying to grow more food in Alaska, produce more food in Alaska. We can. We have the potential for sure.
If they ever did shut down the ports anywhere, and we'd be starved for food, would they just go ahead and let people go hunting without a license anymore?
There would probably
Animal
be.
population decimated.
There probably would be a few emergency orders.
I'm sure there would be.
go out. I mean, and there's somewhat of a recent memory. I mean, you remember when the storms hit Western Alaska last September?
Yeah.
Right. So there was a lot of subsistence harvest that had been destroyed in people's freezers, their homes, and
Yeah.
everything. They lost power or whatever. So there's a lot of harvest that was lost.
Dakota were froze.
And so.
I'm sure the
Is it
mic's
still
still
on?
on. I'm sure the mic's still on. You can
Sure.
continue.
So I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
To open up some additional hunting opportunities in Western Alaska for caribou. and
Do they
moose.
just
So
loosen
that
the
allows-
restrictions on what is
Well,
subsistence at that point?
Well, no, they just
Can
actually.
we finally kill the magpies off?
That's a decision for the board of game that I will not
you just
weigh in
used a
on.
Sega shotgun with buckshot.
Can we
But
shoot?
no, I mean, there is a case for certain species of birds, as climate, as temperature ranges change and certain species move farther north, that there are some invasive species that some of these birds, not necessarily magpies, who are annoying, but have been here for quite some time. But there are certain species that are moving northward that that have to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But certainly there's a precedent for opening up some additional hunting opportunities. But there is a model for what could happen in a disaster up here. It was 1964.
Yeah.
So when the earthquake hits in 1964, it destroyed Whittier, destroyed Seward, destroyed Kodiak, and these were your main cargo ports, deep water, ice free.
Yeah.
Anchorage was never intended to be the main shipping port of entry for Alaska. But it was the only one that wasn't completely wrecked in 1964. So they started, but it still took 6 weeks to bring a ship into the port of Anchorage with relief supplies. And in the interim, it was the largest military airlift in history to that point, was to fly goods into J-Bear to provide relief supplies to Alaska. So there is a model for what could happen if you shut down a port. You would fly goods.
Yeah, no one's shutting down a military base
at a tremendously high cost.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in 1964. They had to fly food in because every port was destroyed. So it's not even, you have to think about a pandemic. You could think about natural disasters that were supplemental to. I mean, Redoubt blew up not that long ago.
No, that was
And shut down air
2010, I
traffic.
think, or something.
2009. Yeah,
2009. There we go.
There was still ash
Redoubt
everywhere. I
erupted,
got
so-
here April 8th, 2009, and there was still ash on everything.
Yeah.
So the
There'd be
idea is
special
to-
exemption for driving food up to Canada and whatnot.
Which during the pandemic, remember, Canada closed the border. So a lot of that stuff, traffic was restricted as far as moving up through there. So it's very important
So
for the government
situational.
to get more prepared grow more food, produce more food up here.
Yeah.
Well,
and-
the
So you're saying,
ability is
yeah.
definitely there because I mean, look what happened when weed was legal. All of a sudden, we can grow stuff here.
Yeah.
When weed's legal, we can grow shit, no
if we,
problem.
if we grew lettuce like we grew cannabis, we wouldn't have any problem with spoilage.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Um,
In Alaska.
So I guess the goal is to stop building cookie cutter developments on old farms and like actually make them viable.
Well, the Matsu Valley for sure. A lot of the originally prime farmland has been converted in subdivisions in the Matsu. But we still have plenty of areas of Alaska. I mean,
Up towards
we
Denali,
have-
there's all sorts of
we
problems.
have Delta Junction, we have millions of state-owned acres, but we also have, hundreds of thousands of state acres that are set aside for agriculture that could be put into production, that are good soil quality, that can produce food. So, and that's the main thing that you have to avoid, because in the lower 48, yes, they are losing farmland at a very high rate that is being turned into subdivisions. That's exactly what happened in Matsu, where it's more profitable to sell your land to a developer than to farm on it.
Instead of
So,
making
right,
cabbages,
so there's various entities, there's farmland trusts, there's various things where if it's good ag land, we need to make sure it stays good
Yeah.
ag land.
So on that natural stopping point, cigars.
Cigars.
Well,
Smoking.
hold
They
on.
grow from the
We're gonna have a natural segue coming up. So what's up, Dave? Good to see you.
Let's see here.
It was we just hung. We had a cigar event on Thursday. Dave was there.
Yeah, over
Pretty
at,
good turnout.
Bernie's
Yeah.
Bungalow.
Yeah.
Pretty good time.
What's everyone
20 some odd people
smoking and
in
sipping on, man?
There we go.
What is we smoking? I got a Jack Wyatt, Appendix 2, which is
The second
exactly
part of the
what-
S end of the book.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Appendix 2, second surgery, electric boogaloo.
maybe.
Okay.
But actually, it's a little different of a Connecticut than I've had. I mean,
How
not
so?
what I expected. It's more of a.
It's
and it got
mild.
some like weird flavors to it. Almost. You mentioned earthy tone. I kind of get that, but with some good spice in there.
Well, and it had an interesting looking like with the cap and the foot. Almost like you had like almost a, I don't want to say candela, but
But
it's got that
that's just,
barber pole.
That's on the outside. Yeah, it's not exactly.
Oh, so
part
it's decoration?
of- yeah.
Are you
It's
unwrapping
cool
it right now?
decoration. It's
Alright.
cool decoration.
So not,
It's a
unfortunately,
decoration.
it's not a barber pole like traditional, but
Okay.
it's a pretty cool, or not advertising.
Well, I
promotion,
wonder
but
then at that decoration at the foot. I wonder if that's affecting your light up, and as you get through the barrel, it'll
Probably,
change.
yeah. Mr. Benjamin, what are you smoking today?
I am having something called Pilon Añejo from CAO. I have smoked one of these on camera before. It's been a while, at least 6 months. I like this cigar a lot. I do not like sweetened flavored cigars, but I like when my cigars have a natural tobacco sweetness, and these definitely do. Super smooth, creamy. There's just enough spice to make it interesting. The Pilon Añejo is a newer offering from CAO. It was a limited release, but they did well enough that they actually made it a full-time regular production cigar,
Is it
which I'm very
aged
happy about.
in
I'm
like a
always
añejo
hoping.
barrel?
I don't believe so. It makes no mention of it in the marketing. The Pilon is
I wonder where the añejo comes from.
you got me
Something-
on that.
something
It's
we
not,
shoulda Googled.
it's not. Well, I looked it up. It's not in the marketing.
Oh, really?
What they talk about is there's an old school method of aging and fermenting tobaccos where it's like Pilon is like pile. It's
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
they just
yeah,
make
yeah.
big piles, and as you know, when you pile mulch,
Don't
whatever,
they
it
still
gets
do
hot
that
in
with
the
certain
middle.
Maduros?
Maybe.
To ferment them? I thought they did.
Does añejo just
there's-
mean aged?
CAO was doing the
Pile
where
aged?
they wrapped it in a long rope
Who
and
took
then
Spanish for?
tossed it in the barrel to age.
I never took some of it.
What was that? The Fuma and Cordas?
My Russian's
Hmm.
paying off.
And no, they didn't put it in a barrel. They just wrapped it up in a rope and just let it sit there,
Yeah.
all in a big old bundle wrapped up on a pole.
Anyway, there's a lot of different ways of aging and fermenting tobacco for cigars, but this is one they're using like the pile technique, I guess. But the result is smooth. It's naturally sweet. It's easygoing, just enough spice to make it interesting. Very well blended. Definitely recommend checking out. I'm glad they put it into regular production. I think that all the time because we bring in limited release cigars to change it up, make new exciting things. And I'm like, I wish this was something that
Man.
wasn't going to disappear in a couple months. It's nice to see this actually come back. Hats off to CAO. I'm a fan.
Very
Mr.
good.
Jensen.
I get to follow that. So the aficionado over here. It's actually to talk about things. Well, I think once again I ended up with a Drew Estate brand in here.
Sure.
Very
Drew's
good.
fantastic, man.
Yeah.
And I always rely on the recommendation on here. They know what I actually like. And this
Yeah.
one, I gotta say, it's called a Java, and I
Yeah.
really don't know anything else beyond that, except that when I unwrapped it, it smelled like a Thin Mint.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
have-
Java
you
Mint.
have a-
And so,
Yeah, the Java
so
Mint.
right out of the bat, it had a great start.
Yeah.
Before I even lit it,
Mhm.
it had a great start. And as I'm progressing through it, I'm really enjoying it. Definitely nice coffee, minty type flavor.
Be good with some ice cream.
I guarantee it would, but
Yeah.
right now I kind of believe it would be good with anything.
Yeah.
So no, and
Night on town.
I got a bottle of water over here. You want?
establishment.
yeah, having a nice good burn, as you can see. Haven't even had a drop of ash yet, so hopefully not going to do that embarrassingly on the table. What do we call that?
Chatted.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to not. I wasn't going to say it. I was going to let you guys.
It's
know.
on his
But
goddamn
yes,
sleeve.
so yes.
You led the witness
So I'm
there.
hoping that I
What's
will
that
not
called?
chatted this, but yeah, it's having a really nice burn. Great flavor.
Objection. Leading the witness.
Yeah. I have an Espinosa Comfortably Numb, which, believe it or not, is I brought up from Arizona. When I was down in Arizona, I bought a whole mess of cigars because I was going to a joint 40th birthday party, big outdoor event that my wife's family was having. And so I bought just a whole bunch of cigars that I thought were good instead of trying to bring them down. And then, long story short, it got rained out. So I brought a whole shitload of cigars back from Arizona. And this is one of them.
Nice. Kicking the leftovers.
For me, I'm having the Alec Bradley Experimental Series Double Broadleaf. I didn't know a whole lot about it, except everyone in the shop said, Dakota, you need to try this because it's up your alley. I don't know what the makeup is. I just know that so far it's been like really strong coffee and a little bit of nutmeg and some mild spices and just like
It's a lot of
wrap.
advertising on that stick, too, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's a fuck ton of advertising, but like I didn't have time to read the 13 fucking paragraphs.
No, I just mean the amount of
Banding.
banding versus the amount of cigar that's exposed.
Oh, and there was a footer on it too. It's been delicious. I've been enjoying it. What's everyone drinking tonight? You're having
Red Bull.
well, at least you're trying to advertise that you're not having
Red Bull is a new beer called Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Yeah, it's
Tasty.
fruity flavored.
Yeah. It's a salty ditchwater IPA.
Yes.
It's really high in taurine, so bull semen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm having some Four Roses small batch is what we got. I like the Four Roses family.
Small
a lot.
batch select.
Small batch select, excuse me.
Yeah.
I like their brand a lot. It's you can find it anywhere. It doesn't cost too much. It's smooth. For me, it goes well with cigars and the things I like to smoke. So
high quality whiskey.
Yeah, single barrel and
Without
small batch.
spending $150
Yeah,
on
yes,
a bottle.
always way sub $100.
Yeah, I think that bottle at Alaska prices was $63, which is perfectly reasonable for Alaska prices.
Yeah. I have noticed they really do cut their profit margin to try and bring the tax hit down quite a bit up here, at least with most establishments.
Mr. Jensen.
I got the Waddy Boone and Sons brought by a friend of the show over to the
Matt, shout out, Matt.
It does say Waddy Boone.
It does say Waddy Boone if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Matty Waddy?
Waddy Bonet.
Like a Red Bull.
Waddy Bonet.
Waddy Bonet. Very, very nice American whiskey.
As early as
start and finish
1776.
smooth, which is impressive. It's got a fairly, looks like a high proof on that versus normal. And I thought a little bit something a little more kick, but it's doing the
Yeah,
job.
I'm going to try that out.
No,
That
extremely smooth. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Matt.
ancient reserve is not a legally binding term whatsoever, so it can mean whatever they want. But new char barrel aged, that's standard bourbon.
This smells sweet. Almost like there's a little bit of almost a vanilla note in there. That smells pretty good. I want to try that.
I glanced through the label. There is
nothing.
nothing on there that's legally binding except 10-year and new char barrel age, which means it's bourbon.
Well, so everybody's allowed their own marketing way.
Yeah, I know. We have it too. Everyone's got it.
I'm drinking Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style. It's a staple. That's all I have to say about that.
I did have a quick pull of that.
Did you just Forrest Gump it?
Yes, I did just
Nice.
Forrest Gump it.
Did have a quick pull of that apple
Oh
Uh,
yeah. So
whatever.
we got some apple cinnamon moonshine next door over at the fights.
Ooh.
We all had a little taster of that first to kind of prepare our palates for some cigars.
Apparently, it's pretty potent, and it can go down pretty smooth. Actually,
It's
so,
in an unlabeled jar that was
Yes.
sent out from a cousin.
with apple slices in it.
Yeah.
But
That's all the provenance
Yeah.
you need on moonshine from a cousin.
Yeah, you could have taken a sip and then lit your exhale through your nostrils. It would
so just disclaimer, it was given, no barter, no trade, no sale.
Huh?
Those are the 3 things you can't do with moonshine. You can give it away freely.
Well, I can drink it.
Yeah, it was given.
Yeah.
It was given to him, and he gave some to us.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's good to share.
What are you drinking?
Why are you
Dakota?
pretending like we're doing illegal shit over here?
Because I got grilled at one point when I was distilling. So I first started with the Four Roses Small Batch Select. It was too fruity and too floral. So
Really?
then I changed to Old Forester,
That's your
which
shirt.
Isn't
is-
pretty enough.
is the old,
You're very
is the
floral.
Prohibition style,
Absolutely.
and that is a little too harsh. So next I'm going to try Waddy Boone and Sons, which is probably going to be just right.
Mm.
The Three Bears
I think
method
you'll-
of drinking.
Exactly. So far I haven't had one that really pairs with the cigar one.
When I had that at the cigar event, I had problems keeping it lit, and then I also
That cigar?
Yeah, I had a Jack and Coke, which did okay with it. It just
You
was a-
drank something?
it was a little
You drink something
heavy
once in a while.
at the first light for the first inch, and after that, kind of smoothed out pretty well.
I gotta say, it's not blowing up like most of Dakota's cigars.
That's
do.
my trick.
And I was, how did I do that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't believe that. It just fell right off. Like,
It didn't even get on my shirt. I'm good. Actually, at the cigar meet,
That was something that happened a lot.
Oh, was that the first chatted?
Yeah.
yeah.
Good job.
we need a counter that I just hit a button on.
Bing, bing, bing.
Keep it on your spreadsheet.
Alrighty, so
I don't have, I know I say play spreadsheet commando for a job, and I do, but I don't keep spreadsheets.
I heard there was ESPN, the Ocho, they've been
Yeah.
showing like all these random things. They said there was like an Excel competition,
What?
literally
Holy
for
fuck.
spreadsheets.
I want to see that.
I'd rather watch
I don't know how that
Tag.
works.
Tag's
Like,
so
is it
much
just-
more fun.
No,
Is
no.
it like sit down and perform this function and how quickly you
What
can
it's going to be
build your spreadsheet?
is
Okay.
it's going to be them doing novel functions that are really hard to replicate. So it'll be something like, let's build Pong in spreadsheet. It'll eat up 32 cores and 180 gigs of RAM, but it'll fucking work.
All right. So Matt said they have pillow fighting championship.
Oh, well, I saw the pillow
PFC.
fighting. I saw that last night. That pillow
PFC.
fighting championship. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Oh, you were watching that? Yeah.
Only-
It's funny because the
only
Ocho
if-
is on the deuce. Actually.
if it's all
Oh, is it?
All women, scantily.
No, they need
Yeah.
a lingerie pillow fight league for sure.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they got
But they're out there
lingerie
with,
bowl,
like,
they need a lingerie pillow fight.
These
league
guys
for
that look
sure.
like UFC
Lingerie
fighters.
bowling?
Yeah.
PFL.
You guys are gonna offend our one female subscriber.
I mean, it's
if
a
she-
sausage fest.
Yeah.
Like,
She's willing to defend the other side of the argument. You can come on down.
Maybe she wants dudes in their boxer shorts or tidy whities or what? I guess whatever you're.
Hey,
They
putting.
were in their
opportunity.
boxer shorts. That was the
Yeah.
competition. The
All
guys
right.
were, yeah, they were having.
Make sure you got the button boxer shorts because you have the
You can flop.
just
And
like
how
somebody
proud
who,
would you be if you whopped somebody with a pillow so hard that their dick fell out of the pants?
That's 5 points. That's 5
5 points out of that. 5 points out of that.
Oh, this dick fell out. They'd go to the replay and zoom in. I saw some head there.
You hit him in the face and somehow just, oh god!
Dropping
Guy
bangers
sitting there,
and that.
tucking it back in.
Killing it bangers and mash.
Oh my God. All right, so back to important matters about
Back to
steak.
Dakota Sex Wing.
Wait. So let's get off the serious politics stuff for a moment. One thing that I love about my guy, Andrew Jensen here, is that he is a fan of the Sunday matinee.
The Sunday matinee.
We
yeah.
like to go to movies together. We
Buy out a whole row.
Mhm.
Well, however many people,
Well,
we make an
ish.
event, we make it
Ish.
a party.
We can do
There
some
may or
of
may
it.
not be some pints or flasks being passed around.
You
it's
hush
an-
now.
It's
You
a
hush.
friendly event.
We don't have to disclaim everything. Like, I mean, if you
Yeah.
want to take a flask to the movies and a
I said
matinee,
may or may not.
like,
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
I'm
going to
just
police
saying,
anybody.
you know.
There's a teenager walking around with a
Okay.
flashlight occasionally, so that's up to him.
When have you ever seen that?
Never, not up here. Anyway,
Not since 2008.
what's
Yeah.
so
You see it
anyway?
all the time at
I
Totem.
love the movie going.
I think
what's,
the
what have you done lately?
last time we bought out a whole row, I think, was Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear for sure.
Cocaine Bear
we
was
tried
pretty
on
packed.
Sisu. We tried on Sisu.
We tried on
That's
Sisu, but we
true.
had like 3 cancellations, so
Yeah,
we didn't
Sisu
fill
was
up a
great.
row on
Sisu
Sisu
was
was
really
fantastic.
good. Yeah, Cocaine Bear was hilarious.
You were just rooting for the bear, even though it was just.
Oh yeah, totally. Those the most unsympathetic people ever. Like I want all of them to die.
Except for the ambulance. I actually felt bad for those people because they're just doing their fucking job. And
Sure.
they're like, fuck
Sure.
this shit.
No, of course.
We went to one this last Sunday, but it wasn't a matinee. It just scheduling with people. It ended up being like 8:00 at night, so I didn't bother.
Which one?
I couldn't make it.
We went and saw. It was called Talk to Me. It's a brand new spooky movie. The trailer doesn't
shake
look
a
that
hand.
great. In my honest opinion, the trailer, I was like, I don't need to see this. But it got a great score on Rotten Tomatoes, and
Okay.
it's pretty bomb, dude. It has practical effects, and it was pretty good. But
I honestly
Speaking
feel
of-
bad though. But no, because I haven't seen the last big like Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer,
oh,
Barbie.
dude,
I wasn't
yeah,
gonna
I
see
have-
that.
Mission Impossible.
But like, no,
great.
I just want to catch Oppenheimer in the theater because at home that explosion's
Barbie,
not going
you
to
can
resonate as much.
Yeah,
watch
that's a
at
good
home,
point. Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it is
Barbie.
a great movie.
I can watch Barbie at home.
It was fun,
There's
though.
not these effects that I want to see in a Mission Impossible or Oppenheimer in
Yeah.
a theater.
Wait till it
Seeing
comes
Mission
out on
Impossible
streaming
theater is great.
service.
What I'm excited
I
for
haven't
now,
seen
I got
Oppenheimer.
Ninja
to like a
Turtles.
Ken doll and go.
Oh yeah,
The Ninja
Seth
Turtles.
Rogen
The Ninja Turtles dropped this weekend. So
Really? It's
I
out
don't
Is
now.
know.
that wait?
Yeah.
Hold on, wait. The
That could be
Ninja
Sunday
Turtles.
matinee. Yeah.
Is it like a PG-13 Ninja Turtles, or is this like a Jeep Ninja Turtles?
No,
Or
it's
is
made
it-
by Seth Rogen.
Oh,
So-
really?
Which I always have confidence in him because he's my age, and right because like when I saw the trailer for the new Ninja Turtles, I was like, that looks like what I remember from being a kid.
It looks
Okay,
good.
hold
Yeah,
on. With the new Ninja Turtles, they are actually teenagers. And while every other Ninja Turtles, they've been adults for sure.
Right. Well, I always wonder, like,
I don't care
it's one of those
which
things that's
version
like
it
a
is.
problem when you brand it as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so then 20 years later, they're still teenage
Yep,
mutant, like Lil Wayne, right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, you're like 50. I'm still Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
Kid Rock, right? Kid Rock is over 50 now, right?
but it's
Yeah,
a
but he's
cartoon.
still-
Kid Rock.
But it's
like,
a cartoon. South
not
Park
gonna
is
kid.
still in 4th grade. Bart
No,
Simpson's
but they
still
don't- okay,
13.
totally, but they don't have teenage or elementary school in their title.
That is a
Okay.
good point. I would like if Kid Rock officially became like Mr. Rock, you know, or
But there already is a Rock.
No,
That's the
take it.
problem.
Lil
The
Wayne,
Rock is
it's
already
just
taken.
simply Wayne, or maybe Mr. Wayne.
Drop
you know, whatever
Lil
he
Wayne,
likes,
right?
You know,
Drop Lil Wayne.
Let's
But I think
update
like
this a little
like Lil Bow Wow. He dropped the
yeah,
Lil and
yeah.
became Bow Wow.
You know why
Right?
he's called Lil Wayne, right?
No.
He's not that tall.
He also shot himself in the stomach when he was like 14.
yeah.
I'm happy.
Almost died.
I'm happy he survived.
Yeah.
You know
No.
what? You know what?
He's a
this
fun
is
guy.
where I was at
No,
age
Lil Wayne
wise.
is. Yeah.
Mrs. Officer's a fantastic song.
When Kid Rock was first becoming like famous, had some songs out, I hadn't heard him yet. I was a young guitar player. I was into Jimi Hendrix and shit. I was not paying any fucking attention to what was on the radio.
Sure.
And somebody asked me, he's like, "Oh, you like Kid Rock?" And I was like, "What is that? Fucking music for children?" No, I don't like that. I listen to Guns N' Roses and AC/DC and shit. I don't need no Kid Rock. Fuck that. I had no idea they were talking about an artist. That was my first initial like brain response to the question if I like Kid Rock was like, no, what is that for fucking, you know, Kid
Sesame
Bops or something
Street,
like
yeah,
that? Like,
Disney Channel.
Oh, like
no,
Kid
man,
Rock
I
or
listen to
something.
real music, bro. Like,
I don't listen to Kid Rock.
I didn't know it was a guy. Like,
Back to these Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
As I say, a teenager.
This is not a cigar cast anymore.
They are
Cigars are secondary.
prepubescent, or they were going through puberty.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
13?
Yeah, I mean, not what I want to see.
What's
from my
stopping
Ninja
them from
Turtles.
being like 18 though?
Exactly.
It's
They
like,
could have made 18-year-old Ninja Turtles.
I mean, the original Ninja Turtles used guns and like.
I mean, they're
ripped
still
people's heads
teenagers
off.
at 18. Yes.
But
they could like they could vote against Master Shredder.
yeah.
They're 18.
You know, even at a young age, I was sort of like, you have this diminutive mentor character, and then this like tall, mysterious, masked enemy. It's like, where have I seen this before?
that is a funny thought. 18-year-old
Oh,
voting.
right?
Fucking
Right.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Splinter is Yoda and Shredder's Vader. Like, even as a kid, I could tell that. I was just like, wow, they totally ripped off Star Wars
Which
like,
one's hot
model
now?
here.
Casey
Well,
Jones.
Casey Jones.
What are you, some kind of punker?
You know what's funny
I
is
hate punkers.
I'm the opposite because I know all the Ninja Turtle references. I don't know any of the Star Wars references. I understand the names, but I don't know the relationships between
Oh
them.
man. Time for you to start watching some Star Wars.
Apparently, I got a lot to catch up on.
We got
At
Well,
this
no,
point, it's
there's
just
only
too
just
much.
3 to watch. That's really it.
Mandalorian.
You know,
Nope.
I never checked
Space-
that out, so
space
I'm not going to
Western.
comment.
It's a Western.
I understand people
in
like
space.
it. I understand people enjoy
Well-
it. So I have not seen it. I can't.
Just because you say it's a Western in space doesn't make it good.
We're reaching the 30-minute mark. Should we do a mid-stick impression since
Sure.
we haven't talked cigars in quite a while?
Yeah,
So
That's all right.
Chad,
That's all right.
let's get back to what you're having. You're having a
Was it something Wyatt? Jack Wyatt.
Jack Wyatt.
Jack Wyatt.
J-Dubs.
Appendix 2.
Mhm.
Fuck is this?
I
Term paper
forgot to
citation?
blow through it a couple of times, and so it's getting a little tarry. But
I heard appendix.
yeah,
His bibliography is much better.
I see it not as much of a
Interesting.
Connecticut as I would like. You know, I like the Hellion, Devil's Own. That was a
Oh.
much better Connecticut.
Well,
than this.
the red label, white label, black
Red.
label, red label. The red label Hellions are fantastic cigars.
And the it's not hidden right. Not what the marketing weight would suggest. It said like vanilla, creamy, a couple other things. I'm just not feeling it. Some people said even orange in there, and not getting it at the moment. Of course, I don't have the best of pilots to pick those notes
Not
up.
even after you gargle some Red Bull and then retrohale, you don't get the orange.
Well, and you're through that foot too with that decoration there. So I would think you'd be into the real notes
Yeah,
of
and
the cigar
it's
at
just
this
a
point.
thin. Let's. By the way,
Nope,
what
not after dark one.
what fruit or flavor would you say Red Bull actually is?
Strawberry, as close as
Do
you
you
can.
think it's strawberry?
That's what they claim.
I would say
Whoa.
it's dangling.
Sound like a Hatfields
Swang.
and McCoys type of rivalry bullet.
No, I don't have a solid opinion on it. I've
Okay,
always
wait,
thought
wait.
it was like an extra sweet grapefruit or some weird. Like I can't. It's totally perfectly ambiguous.
Well, I told you guys earlier. Did
Strawberry.
nobody listen?
No,
Salty ditch water.
yeah, salty dishwater. Yeah, it's not. How is it salty?
but it's sweet.
Well, if there's a lot
Red Bull
of,
doesn't seem salty to you. It seems salty to me.
No, I usually drink it to where it just goes straight down my throat and I crush the can and throw it away.
You can crush the can and throw it away.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you're like in Flint, Michigan, where they got lead pipes, it would definitely be sweet coming out into the ditch.
Oh, if
right?
you're in Flint, Michigan, you turn on the tap, it looks like that. It's probably gonna bubble too.
Ooh, try to light it on fire.
Where's lighter?
I'm so proud to say I've never drank a Red Bull in my life.
Really?
Not once.
Not
Oh,
yet.
shit.
And
I've
the
never
energy
drank.
drink.
I've never drank a Red Bull. I've never drank a Monster. I've never drank a 5-hour Energy.
Like why?
Because I drink coffee, mother.
Yeah, so does everyone else. It's not like I don't drink coffee.
I've never
Coffee's
drank.
for
I have
people
never drank
sitting
a Red
around,
Bull.
though. If
Like
you're
the
busy, if
closest
you're a
to
hard
drinking-
worker, you need
Mhm.
shit that's you can't
Yeah.
be like, oh, it's hot. You need to
Yeah.
slam that shit. Get to work.
The closest I've ever come to drinking a Red Bull was like people used
Where
to do the
is
Jaeger
your
bombs and they would throw the
leathery
Jaeger
man?
into
Oh,
Red Bull
yeah.
and do that. I've done that, so I've passed
You-
Red Bull across my lips. But
You've
like
never
I've
went
never,
in and
like,
bought
I
a Red
remember when like the Red Bull and vodka became a thing
Oh,
at the bar. You remember
Oh
this?
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that
fights.
greatly.
Oh my
Oh, I'm
god,
not
the fights. Like
responsible
I
for
was
that.
no, I mean I was living in a college town when that Red Bull and vodka.
I
became
was
a
bartending
thing.
when
that became a thing.
Morgantown.
Oh, the fight, the Fayetteville.
I used to
love
drink.
drinking
I used to
Red Bull
drink
on
Red Bull and
no,
Jim
there was
Beam.
a dramatic increase in fights.
Oh yeah, because
Once-
you get
because
so
people are
drunk
like-
and you're supposed to
and
fall out,
they're-
but you don't.
No, they just get more amped up.
Yeah.
The proper
the Red Bull and
parlance.
vodka was like the bane of the bartender
Yeah.
existence.
The proper
back then,
parlance is
yeah.
RBV. That's what you call it in the clubs.
Okay, well,
I
we had to spell shit out in the hood. Okay,
I had a thing with
In the
Red,
South.
I had a thing with Red Bull and Jim Beam for a while, and I didn't even go out and do it. I lived in a fucking dry cabin in Denali, so I'd just be at home watching LMFAO videos, and just having a great time. My dog's like, I don't know what's happening right
Jim
now.
Beam and Red Bull just sounds like angry sauce.
They,
No, I mean I had a great time, but again,
you
it's
about to
like
go rob a 7-Eleven?
I acknowledged in myself it's like I have drank enough booze where I should be falling out, but I'm not. Because
Before,
I'm
dude,
just like,
mixing Red Bull with
I got
liquor
wings.
well, I remember
There's so many people who have been arrested because of that.
I remember
Live and
before
learn.
the before the Jaeger bomb really caught on. Before that, there was the German iced tea, which was an RBV
All this
is Red
sounds
Bull
really
vodka.
related to Oppenheimer for some reason.
No, so a German iced tea is Red Bull Jaeger, but made as a drink and not a slam.
Yeah.
And so those were like kind of a thing for a while, and people realized that they're just killing you. So they
Yeah.
switched it over to like people stopped ordering it, started getting the shot. But I remember when I first started bartending, like making these Red Bull Jaegers as a drink to people, and it was like,
Jaeger bombs, man.
I gotta stop. So, like we at the first bar that I
so much
bartended
sugar,
at,
too. Those people
it
had
was
to
like,
die the next
dude,
day.
you could order 2, and that was you were not allowed a third one.
Oh man.
That's like the Long
Those were
Island.
good
I
days
see
of
a
drinking.
lot of places
Yeah.
that have any self-respect and like, we'll give you 2.
Yeah.
That's it.
Other than that, pick something
Yeah.
respectable.
Oh, for sure.
Order a martini like a regular
You
degenerate.
can't
Drink
get
a full glass of vodka. You fucking. Yeah.
Was it the
so-
Alaska iced tea over at what was that place
Oh
called?
no, it was the place that burned down, Sea Galley.
Cigar.
They had the Alaska iced tea. They
So-
got 2.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
2. Yeah.
But they would load it up with other shit. It was like a fucking tall
So
glass, and
ridiculous,
it's
yeah.
just freaking ridiculous. And people
when I
got
see
so
grown
pissy
people, yeah,
when
when I
they
see
couldn't
grown,
get more than 2.
Down in Ketchikan, they used to do, they called it an Alaskan zombie, and it was a pint glass, and they would layer 6 different types of rum on top of each other.
Why?
And if you could drink it, sit for 5 minutes, stand up, and walk out the door, it was free. And no one ever won that fucking prize.
I mean,
That sounds like a lawsuit
all,
waiting to happen.
if I could walk out
Yeah.
the door,
We're talking,
it is
we're
free.
talking.
So you said drink a
I
pint
mean,
glass of
I'm
booze
out.
and walk away. And drive,
Your
like,
jurisdiction over me is over. At that
You
point,
don't-
I'm making out the door.
You
You're
don't
like,
drive
sorry,
to
it wasn't-
Ketchikan, you walk up a
Oh, yeah.
6,000
So
flight of
Ketchikan in the
stairs.
70s was a different animal. I'll give him that.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, it's
but-
still a tiny place. It's geographically constrained.
No,
All those little
roads
panhandle
are
towns
fucking
are,
stairways up
you
the
can walk
cliffs.
everywhere. Wherever
Yeah.
there's streets and businesses, nothing is like, oh, that's a long walk. Other than
Yeah.
Juneau. Juneau's.
Fuck Juno.
There is a
Sorry,
trick
Juno.
that I learned.
I
Yeah,
might
sorry,
like
Juneau.
being
No
there.
offense to Juneau.
Gino.
But if
Just move the
No.
capital to Anchorage finally.
no.
So,
Well, what I would say is like you move the legislative session
Yeah.
to Juneau, or to Anchorage. You
so-
can keep the capital there. That's
But
back to cigars. How is that Java Mint progressing for you?
I mean,
Has it changed?
I'm digging the hell out of it.
It kind of turns
really.
into like
I
a
mean,
real cigar with just a little bit of like, I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like lightweight.
It looks like it's holding
right?
together
Because,
well.
right?
Yeah.
For,
It's a 45-minute
it's
smoke on a good day.
It is.
I mean,
No, it's a. I mean, you can tell it's a great burn.
Yeah.
You know, it's burning.
Yeah,
very
it's nice, even. You haven't had to
very
touch it up.
consistent
It's not perfect.
fashion, flavor,
And a
it's
box
flavor-
press cigar too.
Yeah,
a box press
exactly.
cigar that has a nice even burn. It's not-
consistent flavor all the way through. I mean, I've enjoyed the whole bit of it. Right. Sometimes with a cigar, you get about halfway through, you're like, you're ready to throw this thing away.
When's
Right.
this gonna be over?
Exactly. But then I feel bad 'cause I'm like, man, I got this from Mike. I'm gonna finish it, right? But this
Never
one,
feel bad
like,
about
this
that.
one, no, I know. But more than halfway through it, I'm still enjoying it, which, layman's amateur, I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what you talked about construction. I'm not burning that evenly.
Yeah, I kind of brought that up because it's on my mind because this Espinosa. Okay, so the burn's a little even, but you can see the bulge at the end,
Mhm.
and I don't know if you can see what I'm dealing with at the end here, but it.
I did see that earlier. I thought you just had like
No, I'm eating quite a bit of it.
You lit the wrong side and you had a shaggy foot. And
I
Oh,
lit the
geez.
wrong side.
Well, I saw it looks like a shaggy foot.
No, I know. No, it's just it's
It's not a V-cut cigar.
I will say it started out when I first lit it. I thought, oh man, I'm probably gonna have some problems with this. And so yes, I have, but it's holding up, and I'm not having to deal with it as much as I thought. So I'll give it that.
Yep.
So I lost a little bit of the wrap, but it's good enough.
Yeah.
Good enough that I dock it a little bit, maybe dock it a point, like out of 10, but wouldn't shit on it. It's a little rough, but not that bad. Not that bad.
While we're talking about construction, I'm going to interrupt you because I never actually said anything about Midstick. I'm going to point out CAO is a great brand that the Pilon and Añejo, it is a little more expensive than the America or the Brasilia or whatever, but not a whole lot. It's still a relatively affordable cigar, and my construction is absolutely perfect. I've had 2 or 3 of these now. Always is. I did a double V cut, which is fairly aggressive, but it's holding together really nicely. I got no issues at all. Still smooth, still kind of a little subtly sweet. Great flavor through and through. Very well blended. altogether,
Yeah.
I have been for a long time and still am a fan of CAO. Not every one of their blends is my favorite.
The
But-
Italia is kind of mid pack.
I've had some really good Italians. I've had some ones that whatever, but anyway, I like CAO, and this is a great. If you haven't tried one of these,
That just speaks to Italian tobacco.
it's a great offering that is now a regular thing. It was limited, now it's regular. If you haven't had one, you should probably try one. It's right down the middle. Okay, but that's back to the construction. So
I mean, for the double broadleaf I've been having here, I've retrohaled a few times. Flavors are on point as far as the marketing is concerned. It's fantastic. The issue I've had is that the filler keeps burning and the wrap stops.
Oh, so you're coning the thing? Like
Yeah,
it's
so
burning all down the middle?
I've had to relight it twice, and it's not bad, but like the flavor all of a sudden changes, and then it's not smoke anymore, but there's still flavor coming through and a little bit of smoke coming through, but it's not smoking upwards. And like I've had to relight it a few times, but I mean, as far as even burn, I haven't had to touch it up at all. I had to relight the wrap. I guess the wrap just burns at a drastically different rate than the rest of the cigar.
It's still, I mean, from outward appearance, though, it looks clean. It looks
Yeah.
a hell of a lot better than the mini wiener that I'm smoking.
I mean, every time I do
Is it a little smoky?
Mine looks like a little smoky that you left in the frying pan just a little bit too long.
left in the purple
that
sauce.
sounds delicious though.
It's crusty on the
Just
outside,
a kind of a charred little
splitting
smoky.
on the end.
Yeah,
You're talking
wrap
about
an egg. I'm having a good time.
going camping with your kids, the hot dog that gets thrown in the fire. You're like, yeah, I'll just take that.
Yeah.
Just going camping with your kids.
My
None of us
favorite,
have kids.
but I was one once. My favorite hot dog. The best way to have a
Not
hot
all
dog.
of us were, Ben.
The
But I
best
was
way to
one once.
the best way to have a hot dog is if you got a stick you found, you took a knife and you whittled it, jam that up in that fire, and then burn the shit out of it. I'm talking, make it look like this, black, crunchy.
It's a flashbang grenade, by the way.
And then, well, no, I
flashbang
didn't
grenade.
scrape it. And then you put it in the bun and just put a whole lot of mustard on it. It crunches and it's juicy, it's mustardy. That's
Dude,
that's my favorite. Hot potato. Yeah. Fucking, anyway, burn black hot dog with mustard. That's I'm down all day.
it's
And
not really a grenade.
I did switch to the Wadaboon, and
Son.
Oh, I did too. I forgot to
Latte
mention that. What do
Bonet?
you think? What do you think?
it's Angel's Envy, but not quite as refined.
The Angels, everything I'd agree with. I don't know if I agree that not quite refined. I like it quite a bit.
I
It
think
is.
it's actually pretty
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not.
me too.
I'm not naysaying it. I'm just like not necessarily as refined, but the finish is a little bit different. You know.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on a squinty eye
Oh damn.
How long have we been pros?
just now.
Yeah, just now.
Yeah, it's because we have so many viewers
Oh,
joining on
man.
right now.
And
We're back.
And-
Yay, 'cause
And we're live for
I'm
our
really
one.
sorry.
We-
It's not about the
Wait,
live
are
views. It's about
we
the
actually the
reviews.
one?
No, no. No, because it's
we
not
count it as
necessarily
live
about the
reviews?
live views. It's about the reviews.
now it's YouTube. They're fucking with us,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I gotta say, there's something with our because I am subscribed on my personal account to both Northern Knives and Fifth Avenue Cigars, and very rarely are they ever across my feed. I have to
Wait.
search them out.
Did you smack that bell?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now, smash that subscribe button and fucking hit that bell.
You hit the bell.
Yeah, and it's not.
Well,
I haven't replaced a cracked screen in a while. I don't believe you.
Smash that like button.
Well, you just got to pony up to Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
like-
knows you just got to pay them Leviathan.
Well, YouTube's becoming Yelp, where it's like,
You know,
okay,
YouTube-
like we're not gonna say it's extortion. We all kind of know it's
YouTube is
extortion.
AT&T,
Hmm.
right? They own everything. They own the search. They own the ad. They own the video. They own everything. I mean, it's
Right,
the
so-
textbook definition of a monopoly.
Nobody's
I
definitely
wanted
gonna see
you guys
this
banned from
video.
YouTube. Never mind. I'll just leave it up.
No, it's fine.
I didn't mean that. YouTube, don't demonetize these guys.
No, no, no,
Oh, we can't monetize because
Please,
too much.
please, please,
Yeah. Please remonetize this
yeah,
YouTube.
please, don't actually, but I mean seriously.
No, seriously,
it's
speak
in
your mind.
a in a
interesting.
in
Who
any
cares?
in any when you look at the definition of monopoly, Google's a monopoly.
Yeah.
They own search, they own ad, and they own video, and they have the number one in each category. right? So they can obviously manipulate and control things from one thing to another. That's
Yeah.
the exact reason why monopolies have been broken up in the past. So we have laws, antitrust laws.
That was the
And-
telecom
and
breakup
so,
of the
like,
80s,
Sure,
70s.
like
The
this-
biggest issue-
but even go back to like the oil companies and whatever. I mean, like especially when you have this, the same thing with like Facebook, where you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have this, that, whatever, right? Like when you own multiple things across platforms, you're the definition of monopoly. They have 90% share in video streaming, right?
And as
In
far
YouTube.
as
They have like 90% share in ad services. They have like 90% share in search.
as far
Like that's
as
the definition of a monopoly across 3 services. They are the definition of monopoly.
not just that. So like with actual internet access, they're the level 1, 2, and
Yeah.
3 carrier, which means they're the actual one of the few carriers who's actually the backbone for internet services for
Right.
all providers.
And the thing is,
Which means they can change stuff on the fly and just say, "Our bad, we'll eat the fines,"
right? Oh
and
yeah.
make a fuck ton of money.
No, because
Exactly.
the fines are going to be
And that's
nothing
why,
compared to
and
the
that's
money.
No
why, and that's why they've done what the government wanted them to do over the last couple of years, because they don't want to lose their monopoly status.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they are clearly monopolies.
I was literally
Well,
just thinking.
they
about
gotta
this.
do
I'm
everything-
like,
They are clearly monopolies.
But they got to do
So-
everything they can do
covered
to
up my
fight
chat right now.
regulation coming in.
No, I know. So that's
So,
why
like,
they
oh, what do you
go-
want us to
that's
do?
why
We'll do it.
exactly. So they go along with what the government wants them to do, or Congress is jump-voting them to do, or whatever, so that they'll stay off their backs. Because by definition, they're monopolies,
I mean,
right? And so, like, so that's the problem. Whenever people talk about government can fix things, actually, government's the problem. And the reason government's the problem is because they, like, the bigger government gets, the bigger you can influence government.
they also want to simplify
the
their
less-
fucking job.
Motherfucker works for the government telling us
But
the government being bigger is bad.
the
We got Ron Swanson over here.
no, well, government has defined
shit.
functions.
Preach,
no,
Andy,
look,
preach.
No, I mean government has defined functions. So just because you work for the government doesn't mean that you
I didn't mean
can't-
that in a
No,
derogatory
no.
way.
I know what you're saying. But a lot of times this is what happens, right? It's
Yeah.
like people will say like, "Oh, you're a small government person, yet you work for the government," and try to discredit any opinions you might say because you're a small government guy. You should no. I think government should do less things. Smaller
Anybody who's
things.
against that is an idiot
You-
because
like-
you're part of it, so you have a chance to influence it.
Well, I mean that's part of it.
You're
And
also
But what I'm saying is
you're
is
not talking
that
about the
the
employees.
bigger government gets, the more only corporations can influence government.
Yeah.
Then they pull the ladder up behind them, right?
Yeah.
Like Warren Buffett at one point was an entrepreneur. Now he's not. He is the big guy. So what does he do? He's like, oh, I'll pay high taxes. He doesn't care because he's going to pull the ladder up behind him. And now the small business person who's trying to catch him
Can't pay those taxes.
can't pay those taxes.
But he can.
Man, Warren Buffett's got like a dozen or more active cases with the IRS where he's fighting assessments and, liabilities and
That's
whatever,
SOP,
right?
man.
Exactly. Right. But he's like, well, I should pay more taxes. Well, hey, Warren, nothing's stopping you from cutting a check.
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you from cutting a check. If you think you should have paid more, then cut a check, dude. Otherwise, you're full of shit.
IRS ain't going to send your check back.
No, exactly. No, there's a way you can actually go onto the IRS template and just send the government money.
Yeah.
If you
When
didn't think you paid enough taxes, you can send a donation to the federal government.
When you fill out your
Right?
form for a new job, there is a spot that says, do you want anything additional withheld from your paycheck
Yeah.
every week or every month?
Yeah.
You can fill in. I've done that before. When I owed the IRS a lot of money, I got a job, and it was like, you know what? Why don't you withhold an extra couple $100 every paycheck? Because I don't
Just
want
in
to.
case.
Well, just because I don't want to go to jail. Mostly
Yeah.
is what it was.
Because they'll say that they take your
And
taxes.
they
at the point
happily
of a gun.
did that.
So yeah, they take your taxes at the point of a gun.
Yeah.
Eventually, right? Because if you don't pay them,
Well, they
eventually
threaten
they
you-
will take your freedom.
It's under the threat of violence, so
Yeah,
they're
they
going
will
to put
take
you in a
your
cage.
freedom. They will take
It's
your
like
freedom.
back in the day
Yeah.
with the draft letter, man. Like, hey, go serve your country or prison.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
prison.
or prison.
You might die or you can go to prison. Like,
That's why Muhammad Ali's like, nah, I'm in
Is there a
prison.
special draft person for us kind of guys? No, regular population. Fuck.
I feel like what you're advocating for is not necessarily for reducement of government employees. You're advocating for
Reducement of government reach.
Yes.
government reach, and you're advocating for
is it a reduction?
less backslapping and handshaking with large
The
corporations.
bigger the government gets,
The more they want to simplify with big
the
companies.
more only corporations can play the game.
Well, the more
Because
it becomes
the small person can't play the game, or they're at a real disadvantage.
well, the more money it takes to turn that battleship. And once it gets to a certain size, the only money that can turn that battleship is not in people, it's in massive corporations. And not just corporations.
No, they get their car
massive
routes, they
fucking
get
corporations.
they get their car routes, they make it harder for everybody else. I mean, and the thing is, if you're a startup internet company and your web provider is Amazon Cloud, and Amazon's like,
They can just turn you off.
I don't really like that you're competing with us, and they just kick you off the network, and then you can't get on a network somewhere else because there's only like 3 other large reach providers. You know, like you can see what's going on, right? Why do we have so much consolidation?
I
I didn't even
actually
realize
tried.
Uber had bought in like semi-truck transportation. So a friend of mine was up here this week, and he was talking about like, because he kept buying lifts, and I was like, you should have at least checked Uber, and he's like, no, I can't use Uber. I'm like, why? Uber bought a freaking shipping company. Right, and so he's like, I can't, use them. But I mean, once you start getting, and that may introduce some competition. I think that was just sort of corporate rivalry, not necessarily a bad thing. But like up here, we know this. We were the 50th state to get Uber and Lyft because the taxi cab lobby in Anchorage was powerful enough to try to keep them out.
And
So we
still
were the
more
50th
expensive.
out of 50 states to get Uber and Lyft because we had a corporate interest with lobbyists that were like, no, I paid $75,000 for a taxi permit.
Yeah. When Uber and Lyft first started in this state, I boycotted Uber because of Travis Kalanick, not because of what Uber owns. So because Travis Kalanick was the CEO and he's kind of a comeback. And so I would use I held out.
Heard that, Travis?
Thank you, Dick.
That
Is a
was-
professional.
I mean, everybody knows Travis Kalanick is a comeback. I'm not fucking spilling
You heard
anything
that,
new.
Travis?
Yeah, I'm sure he cares.
Yeah, Travis, tune in.
Yeah, but so I would use Lyft, and I try to stick with cabs because I got a buddy that's a cab driver. So I stuck with cabs as long as I could, and their apps started falling apart, and they started being late, and the cars were worse and everything. And I was like, okay. And so then I went over to Lyft, and then eventually it just became now Lyft is starting to get pretty shitty too. So you got to now you have to hedge Lyft off of Uber.
Oh, I always check both. If the Lyft rate
Exactly.
looks too high, I always at least check Uber.
So now I play them off each other, and now look, I'm using fucking Uber again. Now, luckily, Travis Kalanick is fucking out, so I'm okay with that. But now I have a whole new reason to hate Uber, and it has nothing to do with Travis Kalanick, the cutbag.
You heard that, Travis?
And the reason that I sort of because most of the drivers drive for both. And so I would take sort of a focus group. I'd get in the car who's better, Uber or Lyft? And a lot of times the drivers would say Lyft treats us better, pays us more.
Yeah.
So I would use Lyft by default.
Me too.
But if a Lyft rate looks too high, I'm sorry, I'm checking Uber.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for the lower.
Yeah, you get this pricing is like $35 from Lyft, and
dude,
it's $20 from Uber. It's like I'm not paying an extra $18 to go 3 miles.
But like the taxis, this was what was funny how the culture changed once we had Uber and Lyft. It used to be, okay, I just called a cab, let's get another drink.
Yeah.
And now it was like, hey, I just called the Lyft, finish your drink. Because the Lyft is going to show up in 3 minutes and we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you called a cab,
you
might be waiting
25
30,
minutes.
45 minutes before the cab showed up, right? But now the cabs actually show up faster because they had competition.
Yeah.
And like it just the
Are
whole,
you describing something called capitalism?
well, no, it's more like competition. Whatever
Competition
system,
drives quality.
whatever's
best makes the most money.
whatever system,
call that?
whatever system you want to call it, as long as there's competition that can be fair, then
New York City.
have the same problem.
Oh, the medallions?
Yeah.
God, the medallions.
They had a very similar problem, but they came to an accord. Medallions are still issued. Everything's still functioning. People aren't necessarily happy, but everyone's unhappy, which means it's probably a fair agreement.
You know what though? That's one of those things
No.
though. It's like I agree to that.
That's what it's
extent,
coming to though now.
but
It's not we're not making anybody happy. It's like, well, fucking everyone's happy.
But that's the
So it's
definition of compromise, though.
No,
Definition of compromise is nobody gets what they want.
I tell you this though. When something passes like 90-3 in the Congress, we're all getting fucked. Okay, and people might call that bipartisanship or whatever,
Yeah.
but no,
If they
like,
all agree, we're fucked.
bipartisanship is also a euphemism for getting fucked. Like, if everybody agrees with it,
Hey, honey, bend over. I got some
you know,
shit for you.
if everybody agrees with it, you also might be getting screwed.
Or if the name of whatever they're passing has a happy, fluffy title.
Yeah.
Oh, the acronym.
Or
I
a
love how the
fancy
staff-
acronym.
Oh, the stat, like the Patriot Act. You know that's an acronym.
Yes,
It's
it
like
is.
protect Americans,
Yeah.
totally righteous,
Yeah.
in
Totally
all
righteous.
the time, or
Totally
some
righteous.
bullshit.
No, it
like,
is.
like,
Ninja
like, no,
Turtles.
there's some staffer and
It's
all
an
these officers that says
acronym.
like, hey, come up with something, some kind of clever, stupid acronym that we can call this.
The Patriot Act totally was too. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it was something stupid like that. Protecting Americans, something,
Yeah,
whatever.
I remember
Some
that.
stupid thing, and they pushed it through on fear, just like COVID, right? Like when COVID
Yep.
started, I was like, this is just like 9/11. Like that's exactly what it felt like.
You were
that's
dangerously close to
No,
insinuating
I
that
told
COVID
and you know this,
era
Mike,
was
because
a
I told
tool.
you this. I told you this in March 2020 when they were getting ready to crack down on everybody, and I was like, it's gonna be just like 9/11. Because
Yeah.
like in 9/11, I was like 21, 22 years
We're gonna
old,
pass some more shit.
and I was like, I was just like, oh, well, fine.
Must
I don't have
silence
anything to
some nasty
hide.
shit right now.
Yeah.
I'll take my shoes off. I don't care. You know, and then it's like 20 something years later and we're still taking our freaking belts off.
We had a.
I mean, how dumb is that, right? And that's the same crap that they did with COVID.
I remember
It was
when
fear to,
COVID
like,
started,
you
we
know,
had our own little form of private protest, and so I remember we would come down here. Remember we had the fucking. We had the fucking.
I mean, someone has
we went to a
No.
place.
No.
I know, yeah.
We were legally allowed to be open,
We do it.
but we would come down here into this room and on this TV right behind the camera.
Yeah,
No,
there's
you're right.
video of
No,
it.
you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
But it was
we-
like,
we-
fuck that. Like,
We kept doing our videos here
Yeah.
like normal.
I mean,
we're allowed to be open. We're both.
Through the magic of Hollywood,
Well,
we
both-
assembled all of our private
Like
video
Voltron.
chats. Yeah.
So as we are inevitably reaching the top of the hour,
is it the
Chad,
top or the bottom?
I prefer the bottom, but
It's-
He's a power bottom. though.
Why should you do all the work?
so
He says what he wants and then he takes it.
so how is your stick progressing there? I see it's kind of blown out a little bit. It's got a little thing you do.
Yeah, construction wise, I'm giving it a C minus. You got like stems in there that are holding
Mhm.
things up.
And that's the J Dubs,
Jack Wyatt.
Jack Wyatt, the Appendix 2, you said?
Yes.
Okay, Electric Boogaloo.
Now the flavor
Boy, there's a
wise,
lot of
it kind of did get a little bit sweeter into it. I want to say it was creamy or vanilla or
I was thinking
orange
of the
or
flavor now.
anything but that. Look, a little bit of a spiciness to it. Overall flavor, I don't know. I think it's like a B, I guess. It's not going to be my favorite go-to one ever.
It doesn't
For
stand
sure.
out. It's very
Not-
mellow.
Yeah, nothing too wild about it. I'm not buying a box of these, basically. But then again, I mean, every cigar is different for everybody. So
What about
do
you,
we
Ben?
do we have more of those upstairs?
no.
Ah,
Maybe.
I, was
It
gonna
was-
say, I
it
might
was,
like to give one a go.
We have a couple.
Yeah, if you
Well,
do
okay,
not want to
okay.
buy one, don't
Okay,
worry, we do not have
I
one.
will take a moment right now with our massive audience to say that that is a cigar that was given to us by veterans of the Leaf. And
Oh, okay.
let's and this dude, his name's Joey. I don't remember his last name right now. Veterans of the Leaf, first off, is obviously a cigar related organization or community or whatever. It's kind of like an outreach / support thing for veterans through the lens of cigars.
Mm.
If you are a veteran, if you are active duty, if you're a veteran,
You smoke.
if you've been in the military in any way, shape, or form, and maybe you just need some people to fucking talk to and smoke some cigars, they do very regular live stream things like this, but it's not an advertisement. It's an internal. Let's get together and talk. Veterans of the Leaf is badass. They're awesome. If you're a
They're
veteran and you
great
need some
guys,
people
yeah.
to talk to, you want to smoke some cigars, please look up Veterans of the Leaf. Joey's the guy who runs it. He's fantastic. He comes up here pretty regularly, and he always gives us like an uncomfortable amount of cigars where
Yeah.
I'm just like, I feel like I owe you something now. I didn't ask for this, but he just gives us like a sack, and this was part of it. And you know what? They're fine. They're decent.
Yeah.
They're not amazing, but they're okay.
I mean,
But it doesn't matter. The point is, Veterans of the Leaf, if you're watching this and you're a
It's,
veteran, you want a
Thank you,
group
Joey.
to hang out. Yeah, thanks, Joey.
It's interesting you.
Thanks
Br-
to other
It's
veterans of
interesting you
Leaf.
bring that up because that's what this hat is. This is Band of Brothers. It's the place out of Wasilla, where it's a place it's the same thing, but they have a location and it's over coffee instead of cigars.
Okay.
So you go to Band of Brothers and they have like
Band
they
of Brothers,
have-
Coffee, Veterans of the Leaf,
and
Cigars.
they happen to
Right.
have Big J's barbecue on site.
Oh, goddamn!
Which is probably the best barbecue I've had in the state. I mean,
You
it
need
rivals Expedition. So every time I go there, that's why I have this hat. I have another hat. I have like 6 of their tumblers because every time I go there, I'm like, what swag do you have? Because I just buy all their swag. Like, please still exist. I
you
need
need
you guys
you
to be
need
around.
to do like a Smokey and the Bandit run one day where
Go out there.
you just drive 140 miles an hour
It's just
and bring us their food because I never get up there.
do they have
I
a,
work too much. I
They have a-
want their food.
they have a brisket, mashed potato, mac and cheese burrito.
Talk dirty to me.
It's and it weighs like a pound. Like every time I go
Yeah.
there. I have a fucking my helmet that I take to the track. I have a Band of Brothers sticker right on the side of it. But I have a couple of their hats and like I said, a couple of their tumblers because it's all veteran reach out and they
Yeah.
bring guys
Support
in.
group.
Yeah,
Like,
support
let's
group.
get together and hang. Okay,
And they just
so-
happen to have the most amazing barbecue I've had in this state.
So I will go back one more time. This is a cigar we have. It's not on our shelf. It's something we have because of Veterans of the Leaf. They shows up. They're great people.
They give
by
us,
all
give
means,
us weird
look
cigars
them
to
up.
try out.
They give us cool stuff to try out, but it's there for the guys and the gals and
Now-
whoever might need some support.
And I may
Check
have
'em
just
out.
gotten a random
yeah.
one that had the.
We all thought
or
they were
the
okay. They're
cigar.
okay cigars.
But I'm saying that I might have had the random one with the stem in it.
Kind of why I
Yeah.
was curious because I wanted to give it.
This is also Chad, so like I sit on the opposite side of the table because I'm the other end of the spectrum. I might really enjoy that cigar. I have actually had that one, and I found it super mellow. And if you're really into Connecticut's, it's great. I'm not a huge fan of Connecticut's, so like it's something that someone out there will really enjoy. It's not a bad cigar.
Sure.
It's not a sweeter Connecticut.
All right.
No.
Long story short, check out Veterans of the Leaf. Joey, thanks for the cigars.
And if you're local, check out Band of Brothers and
Yeah,
Big Joe's
absolutely,
Barbecue.
absolutely.
Great guys up there doing what they're doing.
Moving on to May with the
That.
cigars. Again, you already know what I think of this. CAOs, Pilon and Yeho. I think I'm saying all that right. Anyway, it has never. There's been more flavors coming in and out. Sometimes more sweet, sometimes more dry, sometimes a little more earthy and woody, sometimes whatever. But start to finish, perfect construction, smooth smoke. I love CAO. This is one of their newer offerings, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. We carry these things, so if you want to try one too, please come check it out. Let us know that you saw it on the live stream or whatever. We'll be super happy. I will say this: if you can come in and say, "Hey, I saw this cigar on the live stream.
10%.
I want to try it," we'll give you a little discount on it, right?
Sure.
10%.
I don't have to tell them everything. Yeah.
I'll commit to 10%.
That sounds good, right? Anyway, it's a fucking great smoke. Goes well with my whiskey or a beer. Let's move on to Dr. J. Andy Jensen, our guest.
Hey,
Thanks for being here. How's that Drew Estate Java Mint treating
you know what? It's still treating me good. The only problem is self-inflicted
Yeah.
because I tried to cut the little, what do you call that?
Yeah.
The
cut
band.
the band.
I
Yeah.
went to try to cut the band
Cut
off
the
with a
wrap.
pocket knife and I cut the leaf.
All right.
So it's not the cigar's fault.
You gave it the Jason
This was
Voorhees treatment.
my
That's
fault.
all right.
Yeah,
That's
This
all right.
cigar is delicious. I loved it all the way to this point. I'm still smoking it even though I messed it up.
You're just desperately
So-
holding it together.
Yeah.
No, but it still is working even under adverse circumstances. So highly recommend anything by Drew Estates.
Drew
Digging that
all
stuff.
day. Yeah.
And also, I just want to thank the crew from Avenue Cigars, Chad, Dakota, Mike, Ben,
Man.
And
Peanut
thank,
Gallery, Matt over here with the whiskey. So much appreciate that.
and thank you for
I
being
mean,
here.
like, it's always fun to be here and to enjoy fresh new cigars I haven't tried before, fresh whiskeys I haven't tried before. These are your guys. Hear about it.
Nice.
So, once again, happy to be here.
I mean,
Michael.
construction-wise, this is just getting worse and worse. But I think I'm getting down to the point where it started to fall apart and it was holding together. But once I smoked down far enough, it kind of like, I mean, there's my wrapper.
Womp, womp, womp.
But I'll kind of give it a little bit of a pass. Construction's not my favorite. I'll give it a, on this specific stick, I'll give it a,
Comfortably numb, right?
yeah, comfortably. Espinosa comfortably numb. I'll give it a 3 or a 4 on
Mhm.
construction, but on flavor and just overall my enjoyment of it, I'll easily give it a 6.5, 7. So I can look past some of that. Maybe the way I cut it, maybe I cut a
Yeah.
little deep with the V, maybe, but whatever.
And that's out of 8.
Yeah, it's out of 8. It's out of 10, motherfucker.
That's 8.
All right, that brings us to
Tough grader.
Wladowski to Dakota.
So the double broadleaf experimental edition from Alec Bradley. Construction quality has been top notch. I did have to relight the wrapper, even though the filler was still burning a couple of times. It hasn't crumpled on me or anything, but as I've been smoking it, a hint of white peppers come up to the point where it's almost intolerable. And I do like the cigar all the way up to mid stick, but past that point, it's not my bag. So I don't know. I don't think I'd buy one
Dakota.
of these.
I have this book that says
here,
it
huh?
is your bag.
It's not my bag.
All right.
But overall, it's pretty good.
Overall,
Overall, yeah.
For me, I'm not a huge fan of like spicy, and I like spicy in food, but not cigars. And
I gotta say, I can
Just
smell
not bad.
that Java,
Mhm.
and I dig it.
Chino,
All right.
Cobain,
On that note,
Tupac.
do you have anything you want to shout out about before we call it quits here?
yeah.
You know, I
Thanks
just
for
want to say
your-
once again, thanks again, and you know,
And go to
I brought a friend.
andyjensen.com.
I brought a friend in this week to bring in the knife shop half of the store.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He snapped up something with some very helpful advice from one of your people.
I'm sorry I wasn't there. I found
Yeah.
out afterwards.
It's all good. You were busy, but that's the thing. It's like I don't have to come see you to
Yeah.
get good service, right?
Ah,
you
thanks,
have good
dude.
staff. You
I
got
appreciate
you got
that.
good staff.
Small crew.
No, you have good
tight-knit.
staff that like
We're
made, you
pretty
know that
fucking
made him
righteous up
happy.
here. Yeah.
And then, you know, at the same time too, you gave me good guidance on a cigar that I would like tonight. Like, so basically, if you want a knife, you want a cigar, you want to hang out, this is the spot. And I'm really just appreciative of all you guys having me as a part of
Thanks,
this
man.
tonight. And, you know, if you're also looking for things that contribute to a good time, they're here.
All right. On that high note,
See, there's a reason he's the first 5-timer.
yeah.
All right. On that high note, we're gonna bring it
Five-timer
back
club. Thanks for anybody who's watching.
West Side.
Appreciate you.
out.
Have a great night.
All right.
All right.
Awkwardly ended.
Free